got to fight this guy. Oh, you got injured in camp. You lose to that guy too. Now you're set back when you could have been a champion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weirdness going on with possibilities and, you know, just luck, bad luck, and good luck.
Bad luck and good luck. Timing, I think, is a big thing.
Something like this allowed to happen. How is Jake Paul allowed to fight JervontaDavis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
And then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a...
Joe Rogan voiced strong criticism toward Jake Paul for choosing to fight Gervonta Tank Davis despite the massive difference in their sizes. Rogan emphasized that weight divisions exist for a reason, to ensure fighter safety, and bypassing them can lead to serious dangers. He suggested that Jake seems more interested in hyping up the spectacle than maintaining fairness in the sport. Rogan warned that Jake's significant size and strength advantage could put Tank at real risk, making the fight both unsafe and unnecessary.
But no time limit within the weight class.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be pretty that would be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy.
Because you know, like two guys are facing off each other, like, and they know, like, there's no rescue every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you go into it knowing you're either getting knocked down or submitted, or you're doing that to the other person.
Michael Bisping has voiced serious concerns over Jake Paul's decision to take on Gervonta Tank Davis despite the drastic difference in their weights. He noted that Jake is reportedly preparing to fight an opponent nearly 100 pounds lighter, something that disrupts the very balance the sport is built on. Bisping reminded fans that Jake's earlier matchup with Mike Tyson had already sparked debate, considering Tyson's age and long retirement from professional boxing. Now, this potential fight with Tank Davis only deepens the controversy. To Bisping, it doesn't look like a fair sporting contest, but rather an attempt by Jake to gain an advantage for publicity and personal benefit. He emphasized that boxing's integrity relies on fair and evenly matched fights. In his view, this bout leans so heavily in Jake's favor that it feels less like a genuine competition and more like a spectacle that could put Tank's safety at risk.
That's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him, and him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word, whoa, 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 stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta Tank Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, you know, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers.
Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts on the recent face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, drawing attention to the massive size difference between the two. Atlas joked that Tank is so much smaller than Jake, he'd practically need a ladder just to reach Jake's chin, that he acknowledged that variations in style and skill are normal in boxing, but emphasized that this particular size gap crosses the line of fairness. According to Atlas, Tank's smaller frame makes it nearly impossible for him to compete effectively, turning the matchup into one that looks unbalanced right from the start.
They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, all kidding aside, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think. And I'm gonna ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm gonna ask him because I know he's an expert in this area. But it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips.
Joe Rogan has suggested that Jake Paul's recent moves are driven more by marketing than by genuine competition. He explained that these kinds of fights are designed to grab attention from casual fans and spark curiosity through unusual matchups. According to Rogan, the heavy focus on betting, drama, and spectacle surrounding these events has less to do with sporting integrity and more to do with generating headlines. He believes Jake understands exactly how to stay in the spotlight, using boxing as a promotional stage, even when the matchups themselves don't make much sense. Rogan warned that this approach might be good for publicity, but it's bad for the sport.
That makes it a problem. My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. It's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it, it
watching
bothers the
it
fuck out of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced chat apps in them in Australia, so it's they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in.
Thing.
They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in anyway.
Reports suggest that Gervonta "Tank" Davis may be planning to retire after his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. According to insiders, this decision seems to be motivated less by a desire to solidify his legacy or chase more titles, and more by the chance to achieve long-term financial security. Analysts note that Tank's decision to accept the bout appears driven primarily by the guaranteed payday rather than competitive ambition or career progression. Many view the matchup as a business move rather than a meaningful step in his boxing journey. Observers have also pointed out that Tank has faced considerable personal and professional challenges in recent months, which could be influencing his mindset. Seen in this light, the fight with Jake Paul looks like a calculated opportunity, a way to secure financial stability and step away from the sport on his own terms.
Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing. For sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, "That's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz." He says, "The people got you chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates." Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't.
Daniel Cormier has voiced his disbelief over how the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis has been arranged. From his perspective, the entire setup appears flawed from the very beginning. He recalled the press conference where even Tank seemed unsure about what weight class the bout would take place in, a detail Cormier sees as a major red flag rather than a minor oversight. In a sport where weight divisions exist to protect fighters and maintain fairness, Cormier finds the lack of structure and clarity surrounding this matchup deeply troubling. He also drew attention to the obvious size difference between the two men, stressing that Jake Paul's much larger frame creates a serious imbalance that can't be ignored. According to Cormier, this fight pushes far beyond the boundaries of what is normally acceptable in boxing. He openly questioned how such a one-sided contest was ever sanctioned, warning that it not only undermines the sport's credibility, but also raises real safety concerns for the smaller fighter. In his view, the bout reflects poorly on modern boxing standards, showcasing the dangers of valuing entertainment and spectacle over genuine competition.
Jake Paul. Yesterday they had their first press conference. One of the most recognizable things is Jake Paul is huge compared to Gervonta Davis. And two, Gervonta Davis don't even know what weight they fight, D.
Maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know.
DC, I watched this, and we have our priorities way misplaced when we're talking about boxing. Like, everybody's complaining about this Ali act and all. Like, how is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's
I don't know.
Completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled, but this fight should not be happening. And the press conference was embarrassing. Gervonta Davis should not have a mic in front of him. It was absolutely embarrassing watching this thing.
D, why? Why, D?
Just the fact that, like, every time when Jake Paul would say something to Gervonta Davis, he didn't know how to answer it. He was comparing himself to, like, P. Diddy at moments, and I was like, oh my God, get a mic away from this guy. This fight shouldn't be happening. And then he didn't even know what weight they were fighting. Like, I thought
That's
it was
bad,
190, it was 195.
That was the craziest thing. That was the thing that stood out to me the most. Was that when they go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, wait, I thought it was 190. Dean.
Gervonta Tank Davis has reflected on his journey and admitted that his original motivation wasn't about chasing titles or fame. Instead, his goal was to use boxing as a way to change his life and escape difficult circumstances. For Davis, the sport was never solely about becoming a legend in the ring. It was about creating financial stability and building a better future for himself and his family. He viewed boxing as a path toward security, not necessarily toward legacy, a perspective that helps explain many of the choices he's made throughout his career.
And while he's fighting YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul, who has 12 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 7 wins by way of knockout, opposed to fighting against the likes of his peers who are well accomplished and superstars in their own right for legacy fights like Shakur Stevenson, like Teofimo Lopez, like Devin Haney. Why he's not interested in those fights. And he gets real, right? He gets real, and only thing we could do is salute it, right? Because he's saying, I never told y'all I wanted to be a world champion. I never told y'all I wanted to be undisputed. I got into this for myself and my circumstances to escape from my circumstances. And that's real. We can't blame him for that. We hold him in high regard because the statements he's made and misled people when he said he got a hit list that he wants to check off before he retires, and that hit list includes Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, who turned down the fight because of a severe back injury. And then he told the world, he told Champside, it would be great for him to become undisputed. So I think that he had a change of heart at some point in time along the way.
Showbiz the Adult has given Jake Paul credit for using his platform to draw new attention to boxing and for creating a level of promotion that captivates casual viewers. Jake's ability to attract audiences, generate discussion, and expand the sport's reach is undeniable. Many within the boxing community acknowledge that he's helped open new doors in terms of marketing and fan engagement. However, Showbiz also highlights the criticism that continues to follow Jake's career choices. He notes that while Jake excels at promotion, fans and purists often question the legitimacy of his matchmaking. The main concern is that Jake tends to select opponents who are undersized past their prime or not truly competitive at his level, which, according to many, undermines the authenticity of his success in the ring.
Is going to sing his praises like a hero. Though Jake Paul is definitely appreciated by the boxing world when it comes to what he is giving to the sport, especially women's boxing, okay? I mean, it goes without saying that Jake Paul, an MVP, has added to the sport of boxing. But Jake Paul, the fighter, people are over his shit. There's a huge amount of boxing pugilists in the boxing community who's over his shit. And if Gervonta Tank Davis stops that, if he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition.
This situation has caused frustration among those who value boxing's long-standing tradition of fair and evenly matched contests. According to Showbiz the Adult, the ongoing criticism surrounding Jake Paul has sparked a wider debate about whether his influence is ultimately helping or damaging the sport's reputation. Showbiz suggests that if Gervonta Tank Davis were to defeat Jake Paul in dominant fashion, it could mark a turning point, potentially ending the wave of mismatched, spectacle-driven fights. In that scenario, Tank wouldn't just earn a major victory in the ring. He'd also be praised as a hero within the boxing community for defending the sport's integrity and restoring balance to its competitive spirit.
Optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
We're gonna have to help you up. We're gonna have to help you up. We're gonna see about it. Help you up. We're gonna.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it.
That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates on the latest boxing news and breakdowns. Until next time, take care and keep your guard up. Boxing Glove.